After I purchased my Barranca diamond saw, I soon realized that there was other things that need to be done in the way of maintenance, and that the saw got dirty very quick and need to be cleaned. Uh, the problem with a Barranca diamond saw is it doesn't have a very good cleaning system. In other words, it has just a plug in the bottom of the saw that you remove and to drain the oil, which is not a very good way to do it. It really needs valving and so forth. What I found out that after running the saw, uh, for just a few months and keeping it clean, during that time I had bearings that went out in it. And I decided when I tore the saw down that I was going to come up with a better way to drain it and maintain the saw. I had a friend of mine um, make a threaded nipple for me out of aluminum, and I welded that to the bottom of the saw. Having that nipple installed let me install a ball valve that would help in draining the saw and maintaining the saw. At that point, I started looking around at a better way to clean the oil, and after some investigation, I found that Highland Park Lapidary makes an EverClean system. This EverClean system works on centrifugal force with a can spinning inside that collects all the sediment that you would get from your saw. This looked like a good idea for me, so I purchased one. So what I had to do is I had to come up with a way to return the oil back to the saw and lubricate the blade without having a large volume of oil inside the saw. So I came up with an idea that I would make a manifold system that would be inside the saw that would spray the oil up on the blade as it rotated, and uh, the remaining, I would have enough turbulence inside of the saw that it would keep the bottom of the saw clean by keeping the sediment flushed down and down the drain. Once it went down the drain, it would go to uh, a tank that I would have mounted on the cart, and what that would do is that's where the oil pumps would be. At that point, the EverClean system would pick the dirty oil up, clean it, and then put it back inside that box or inside that tank. Everything was made out of aluminum. I had all non-ferrous metals involved. Any piping that was done, it would be done with stainless steel or brass. And what I had to do is I had to put the tank on there and mount the EverClean system on there in order to get logistics. Since the EverClean system was mounted to one side, I put tabs mounted on this box and bolted it down to the cart. Inside that tank, I had a series of pumps, and I would have it done to where it would had one pump for the EverClean system and one pump for the saw that would return oil back to the saw. I then had a 1-inch pipe that would drop back down into that tank, and a smaller 1/2 inch line that would feed the saw. Both of these had shut-off valves on them so they could be regulated. So let's look at this system in operation. What you're seeing right now is inside of the saw uh, tank. Uh, the oil is being returned to the saw, and in the manifold is spraying up on the blade, which will lubricate the blade. And also I have enough turbulence inside the saw to keep any sediment washed down the drain. This will help in maintenance. The oil then is returned back to the tank uh, below the cart, and where pumps pump it, returns it back to the saw, and also one pump takes it and puts it inside of the EverClean unit and to where the oil is cleaned and then returned back to the tank. This is the EverClean after a couple hours of running, and the oil looks pretty good. A lot better than it did. I cut up all my tiger eye, and now I'm on some bloodstone in the saw, and I'll be cutting soon. And I also added a light to my arrangement here, so I can see down in my tank. So let's talk about maintenance of this system. As you can see up here at the saw, it can get pretty dirty topside. And what I found and I came up with is like a paddle that a body man would use to apply Bondo on a car. You just take one of those, and you're just more or less squeegeeing the oil right down in the slot where the blade goes, and it'd go down into the saw sump. You've already seen how turbulence that is, and so on. It would drip off to the drip off the blade down in the sump and go right down the drain to be cleaned by the EverClean. I've also thought of teeing into the line to the saw, the oil that's being returned to the saw, and teeing into that and bringing it topside and help flush some of that sediment down. Now, as far as the EverClean goes, what needs to be done is there's two screws on top of the EverClean system itself that need to be loosened up. You would then remove the lid to the EverClean, and there is 4 screws on top of a lid that needs to be removed and loosened up, and it would slide over, and a coffee can is down inside of there. It's about this size right here, and it goes in, and it can be removed right out of there, and it would be full of mud or any type of sediment. As you can see, this is the sediment that this thing has picked up right now. Look at that. So that concludes the display of my EverClean unit. So far it's been 4 days of operation, and it's been working real good. Time will tell. Hey, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.